Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Josh Impact Insights, your weekly talk show about causes and effects. As the deadly second wave of COVID hit India, it was heartening to see how not only residents but also non resident Indians across the world joined hands to help the nation. Due to the rapid surge in COVID infections resulting in a dire shortage of oxygen, many corporates as well as individuals stepped up to aid India in these testing times by supplying oxygen concentrators in huge numbers. Today, we speak to one such global Indian who teamed up with her colleagues and friends to not only raise funds but also procure and ensure timely delivery of oxygen concentrators to the needy across 30 cities in India. Our guest, Sheetal Rishi, is currently working as Director, Cloud and AI Executive in IBM's global markets. She is passionate about fostering relationships between man and machine for the broader goodness of humanity. For the past 15 years, she has held various corporate roles across multiple geographies. Sheetal currently lives in New York with her husband and three kids. Despite a power packed routine with family and work, she manages to actively volunteer in the areas of education and social goodness. Hi, Sheetal, and welcome to Josh Impact Insights. Let's start with a small introduction about you.
Hello, my name is Sheetal Rishi, and I'm based in New York for the last 12 years. Originally, I'm born, brought up in Amritsar from India, and I've been working with IBM for the last 7 years here in New York. And prior to that, I worked in Citibank also for a couple of years in New York. And before that, I started my career at McKinsey, few years in India, and then was transferred over to New York.
You have been in US since many years now. How do you manage to stay connected with India?
So I think having grown up in India and studied in India, my friends and my family is still back home. So my work brought me to the US. So US is home now, but I feel like part of me still very much lives back home. So I've been through my work, I've been fortunate enough to visit back home almost 2 to 3 times every year, pre-COVID days, I would like to call it. So I've never really lost touch per se from my own home country, and I think that has kept me very close to what is going on, what I can do to contribute in different forms and fashions. I've always been interested in just keeping an eye on what's going on, and staying in touch. So I do things like advising, since I work in artificial intelligence and hybrid cloud, new technology spaces. So education is something that I'm very passionate about. So I do stay in touch with my alma mater from where I did my engineering Thapar, and from IBS where I did my MBA, and find ways to connect with students there. So when I came here, first thing we found was something called YICG, Young Indian Culture Group, where we run classes, both dance classes, language classes, where we conduct sessions. And the intention is to keep the kids close to our very rich cultural heritage. So that's been a motivation to stay connected.
That's great, Sheetal. So, why and when did you decide to initiate Project Now?
My father's friend called one day and he said, we need an oxygen concentrator. Can you ship it to us? And I just couldn't understand what, because I thought oxygen is free. What do you mean oxygen concentrator all the way from here? Just couldn't understand the whole concept and ask. And this is, I think, 45 days back, I guess. It's not too far. And that's when I started looking into it and said, okay, what is it that India needs and what is suddenly going on in the country? This and I just didn't want to be one of those people who's either complaining or saying, this shouldn't have happened. People should do this. People should do that. I'm like, my house is 7,000 miles away. I cannot be in the front lines and support like I did here in New York. So the best thing we could do was to find resources. And then in this community that I'm involved in, YSCG, Young Indian Culture Group, there were a couple of other friends. Navneet had a personal incident as well. He had a very close friend who lost, unfortunately, his life because of it. So he was very passionate to do something. And then Ananta was another colleague, another friend from this nonprofit we are working with. Then Rati came together, Madhus. I mean, I can keep going with names. I think Sarika, Ravi Shah. We all come together. Say, God, what can we do? And that's where Project Now came in existence. I don't think it's an issue that we don't have money. The good news was when we shared with our other extended friends that you want to do something, I think the funds were made available to us very, very quickly. What everybody, however, wanted was, we don't want this to be a black box, And none of us is in a supply chain business. We are not in oxygen concentrators. We're not really healthcare professionals, by the way, but we were all, I think, passionate to do whatever we could do. So that's how this whole concept of Project Now stood up, where the plan, what we found was, okay, what does the country need? What do people need? People need to breathe, damn it, like there's nothing else you can do. So we said, all right, let's plan. And we didn't have a number in mind, but we said, let's try oxygen concentrators shipping to India. And that's how this, what we called as Project Now, came into existence. And I think it's really heartwarming to see how everyone stepped up to provide resources, funding resources, contact in DHL, FedEx. Where are you going to find the distributors from? Which is the right machine? How do you do the due diligence? Then contact in customs in India to make sure none of these items get stuck somewhere. And since the motivation was this will not be sent to an institution, but it will be delivered to people in remote areas in India, where we were told that it's going to take a while for the resources to reach. So the next part was also very equally important part, was to make sure that we had a very authenticated list of recipients who are really going to first receive it, and second, also be able to use it in a timely fashion.
Of course, right help at the right time is very important. But sending help from 7,000 miles away is not easy. Did it take a lot of time and deliberation to implement the project?
One fine Friday, somebody said, what can we do? That was the one question asked in one of our WhatsApp community group that we have here in the US. And Navneet asked this question, what can we do? And then I think some of us on the side jumped in and said, we've got some ideas, let's just put our heads together. And then I think Sunday we already had this small team formed, and it was documented what we will do, who will we send it to, what's the high level process going to look like. So it needed some kind of structure, right? And then obviously funding is important, but among seed philanthropist people, we were able to get quite a significant amount of money that gave us the confidence that we can at least send, say, let's start with 25 oxygen concentrators. That was a small target we started off with. And the money activity I took on personally, I took on fundraising activity, and we made calls to some of our friends. And then large corporations typically provide a corporate match. So the funding, initial funding, seed funding was quite significant. And as it goes, I mean, you just needed someone to get to inspire. So the fund was in place, the cause was in place, and people who were committed to doing it were set in place, right? Then the next job was to find out the OCs, because suddenly the OCs had disappeared from the market. And then there were other things like, oh, do you need, so in the US, for example, you need a prescription from the doctor. Then we had to confirm that. I think the government in India did a great job quickly announcing that you didn't really need, they got rid of a lot of typical administrative requirements, to ease the import of things that were required.
Yeah, that was a very prompt action taken by the government. But apart from that, were there any other logistical challenges you guys faced?
The intention was, we knew we need to identify the demand, was authenticate, and we had to just set up the chain, which was find the OCs, and then get the oxygen concentrators shipped to a warehouse. This is where our friends Ravi and Sarika, and then we have another friend who was in Arizona, actually further subsequently he had, because the first shipment took longer. So we thought, is there a different way of doing it? Because it was coming from Arizona to New York, and then New York going back again to Delhi, and it's had multiple stops in between. So we requested another friend in Arizona who gratefully, he basically had 50 OCs in his house, and he manually printed all the addresses, labels, and get the airway bills. And addresses are so interesting, and literally the addresses were things like, people के पेड़ के नीचे, or post office के पीछे, या इस मंत्री के घर के 2 घर छोड़ के. Those were the kind of addresses we were getting. Names misspelled, phone numbers written differently, and then machine gets caught up somewhere. And the job was, guys, the need of the hour was to get the oxygen concentrator to the people who need it ASAP. This is not something that can wait, you know. When it's needed, you need oxygen to breathe, and you need a concentrator right then and there. It can't wait, basically, right? So you had to take out all these kinks from the supply chain. Again, so a lot of people got involved, and there was a small team, sub team of us, basically looking into each of the entries and making sure the names were correct and whatnot. So good experience so far. And then financials wise, there's lady Tanuja who was making sure that all the numbers, everybody's getting paid, and all of that good stuff was happening. And then technician wise, there's a guy, Madhur, in our group, is an engineer. So I think he's most passionate about technology, the whole engineering aspects of it. So making sure the machine also is usable because it needs a transformer. So we had to somebody document in the team that this is how it has to be used, and having one-on-one conversations. So we became, I think, help desk service provider, fundraisers. We just wore different hats basically. You were a postman one day looking at making sure delivery has been delivered and communicating with people. And I have to tell you, people who have actually received it on the receiving end also have done a fantastic job making sure that it gets used. It's not going to sit as a piece of decoration in anybody's drawing room. That's not how it's working. People who have received it, they are sending us stories now. It really fills your heart. When one of the ladies actually sent a video she had made how to use a machine, because she was planning to give it to people. The a lady, one of her maids, she said, you take it in your little neighborhood, and where you need help, you give it to that person. So it's a very full story end to end. I don't think how those things get written down. It just brought the country together, and it didn't feel personally that you were sitting 7,000 miles away. It just felt because the phone was the WhatsApp messages, there were like thousands of messages constantly coming in to make sure the supply chain was running smoothly and people were receiving and people were getting well. Our mission, I think, at the end of the day, even if one life gets saved, I personally think that my personal mission is accomplished.
That's so true. So, how did you zero down on the recipients or the beneficiaries for the
So
concentrators?
Josh was definitely a platform that helped us find the recipients which were authenticated, and we don't want to get into something that doesn't solve the purpose that we were after. Then Gurudwara committee in New Delhi was another big recipient from our side. ISKCON temples, one of our friends got in touch with the head of ISKCON temples, and they were able to give us very specific addresses. My own school that I went to Sacred Heart School in Amritsar. I contacted the principal of the Institute of Sisters of Charity, Sister Lucy, who our principal was very kind enough to give me a few addresses. They run some places in Jammu and then in Jamshedpur, for example. So those came in. Then again, our contacts, the other team members had their respective contacts, like there's religious places, non-profits, who are running orphanages or temples, all those kind of.
It must be so fulfilling to know that your help reached the needy at the right time. The whole journey is truly inspiring. Any message you would like to share with the viewers?
People in middle class, whoever has resources, upper middle class families, if you can still help. A simple thing I was telling my own friends in India, guys, like, what can we do? I said, don't, please continue to pay your maids, even if they're not coming to clean your house, please pay them. If you can take care of their child's education for a couple of years, because everybody has had some hardships, give back. The more you give back, the more you will get at the end of the day. We all got to get out of this together. I think I just want to remind all of us that Winston Churchill once had said, never let a good crisis go waste. I hope we will not see any more of crisis in our lives than what we have seen in COVID. So now that we've gone through it, please don't let this go waste. Use it to discover yourself, what you can do to protect the earth, right? I still think it's earth has given us a chance to heal it, and take care of yourself. And I'm very sure, I'm very more than confident that this time is going to be behind us very soon. And how we all behaved in these times, I think, is something we all will be very proud of. So stay positive. Don't be positive, but stay positive, and things will get back to normal soon.
Never let a crisis go to waste. Such a wonderful quote to keep us all motivated through these tough times. Thank you so much, Sheetal, for sharing your experience with us. You and your team have done an incredible job and created a huge impact in so many lives. I wish you guys more power and good luck for all your future work.
Thank you so much for your time.